So what you trying to say? We dead, motherfucker? Very. Nuh-uh, cause if we dead, then what the fuck we doing in the funeral home with your crazy ass? This ain't no funeral home. This ain't the Terror Dome, neither. Welcome to hell, motherfuckers. Harlem Shake in the fiery pits of hell.
Guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Tales from the Hood from 1995 on this Throwback Thursday. Now this movie stars Clarence Williams III, Paula Jar Parker, David Allen Greer, Joe Torre, all the black people from the 90s hood movies. They all here. Now this is a horror anthology, and a very underrated one at that. Now before I get into why I feel like this movie is gravely underappreciated and why I feel like the writing was so brilliant, the acting was good, and the tales were so different apart from other anthologies, it makes this movie really special, but no one seems to care. I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things knee deep in the shit. Oh, we gonna get to the shit? Oh, you want the shit? We about to get to the shit. Hopefully subscribe to see more of me. Let's get into this movie. Now, before we jump, I gotta talk a little bit. Now, I am a huge horror fan. I always loved horror ever since I was a kid, and I always loved anthologies. Now, we have Creep Show, Tales from the Dark Side, Tales from the Hood, Body Bags, so many horror anthology movies. But it seems like when it came to us, we were, kind of obsolete. We weren't really there. And if we were there, we had little small 2-bit roles. And here comes Tales from the Hood. That's by us. FUBU. Tales from the Hood was FUBU. FUBU. And it is so underrated. And I feel like since it's by us, that's why it's so underrated. I also feel like this movie is very pushed to the side just because it's considered a hood movie, especially with the title Tales from the Hood. Okay, this only pertains to black people. They're telling black stories. We can't relate to this. It's nothing here for us. This is for them. No, this is a very smartly written anthology. We touch on everything from each of these stories, from child abuse to police brutality, to the Klan, to reparations, gang violence. There is so much here, and a lot that just, that's below the surface than this just being horror. You see here that Rusty Cundieff and Darren Scott, the director and the producer of this film, really said we're going to take real life horror and place it here and put it, in an anthology and make it into a scary movie. But these are realistic situations. Real life. Now, as soon as this movie starts, it sets up the whole hood dynamic, because we have a whole pimped out skeleton with a do-rag and, a gang gold tooth holding a gun oh, we are sending a message. Going back and watching this, there were so many things here that I never paid attention to before, that I never saw before, that I always kind of knew was there. But when you look past the horror and you just listen to what's going on, it's just oh shit, y'all said that? But we are introduced to our 3 thug ass niggas going to the mortuary, aka Joe Torre, aka Chicago. Chicago from Poetic Justice. And then we have Samuel Monroe Jr., aka the hood nigga in all hood movies fucking shit up. You got Kane shot. You was trying to rape Ebony at the party. If you just want shit to go down, he's there. Got the whole thing, set it off. AP projects on the skull. The fuck up. He's here, and we also have DeAndre Bonds, aka Stacy, in his first role, his first appearance. You know, how the fuck you gonna refile some beans? Like, I love going back here with every single story. If you pay attention, as soon as they arrive at the house, and you know we need to get the shit, aka the drugs, and they're in this mortuary. You see with every single story that he tells, there is some person somewhere in the story saying, come and do this as a man. I mean, unless you're scared, unless you're afraid. They said that so many times here, and I can see what they were hitting at. Like, there's such a stigma for a man, and like black men, especially in their masculinity, and they feel like, you're not going to threaten me. I'm not scared to do anything. They go back and watch. There's so, in each and every story, someone says, are you going to come? Are you going to do it? Oh, what, are you scared? There's so much talk of that. But as soon as they arrive at their house, they're like, oh, you scared? Man, before we could even get into the dun, 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 I love the music here. The music here in this whole film does not get enough credit. Now, you can say that a lot of stuff doesn't hold up here, and a lot of stuff, you know, didn't age well. Some things are a little cheesy, as they are, but most of this film aged really well. The scoring in this movie, like, it crawls on your neck sometimes. It's there. And then that's when we get into Mr. Sims, aka Clarence Williams III. Bro. Can I just tell you, like, y'all know when I made that pose, like, I just knew I was going to give y'all a run for y'all money. Like, no, we want Purple Rain. Oh, no, let's get shit here. Like, it was a boom. Tales from the Hood, Tales from the Hood. Can we get Tales from the Hood? But I love that you guys identify with me with how much Clarence Williams III is underrated as an actor. Like, when it comes to dramatic acting, this dude right here, it's always been him, and Keith David, Daryl Lindo have always been everything to me. And he knows how to convey stuff through his physical acting and his voice to get you into that role. And as soon as we lift up that damn sloop, and it's just like, I love the writing here and how they set it up for us to kind of know who he was. Like, if you haven't seen this and this is your, like, cut it off now, this is your first time watch, I would love to be a first time watcher of this, because when we do actually find out who Mr. Sims is towards the end, it's really shocking. Nobody can see him like, I knew that, I expected that. I did not. I just love the fact that his sinister vibes came across as soon as he was on screen, and he let you know who he was without telling you, because he tells them, I've been waiting for you boys. Like, oh shit. The writing is there. Everything here is really strategic, and it doesn't get enough credit. But can we just say that, like, I was looking at old, like, I went and looked at old pictures of Clarence Williams. Like, that's just his face. That is just his face. I love the fact that they didn't use one prosthetic, didn't raise one eyebrow. I thought for the most part that at least those were some false teeth in his mouth. No. All that there, all of that crown was all him. And if you go back and watch it, you see it's just like, I remember going, you know, watching it before, and you get all the, whoa, shit, oh, and you get, but once you go back and you rewatch it and you realize who he is towards the end, there's clues to show you who he is. And also it's like he's working hard to contain who he really is inside of this, you know, this human body. Very great acting. I'm so glad that I went back and I just like, oh, he wasn't just over like, whoa, shit. Like, it's like I'm trying so hard to conceal who I am, because when I let you motherfuckers know, it's over. It's over. You know what shit we talking about? That shit? Oh, that shit? Oh, we'll get deep in the shit. Let's get to the shit. After we leave all of that, we need a distraction before we get to the shit, and we get into our first story courtesy of our insane in the membrane type shit ass mortician. And we get into Road Cop Revelation. Now, sadly, each story here can still be held to task for today, especially this first story about police brutality. We get right into our Clarence, our rookie cop Clarence on the beat, falling in and following dirty fucking cops. I love this story because, like, it's like, oh, like, we see this. We get into, you know, this politician who's, you know, trying to take out the dirty cops, and he stands for something. He means something. And he's being harassed and beat and set up and pretty much murdered because he's trying to get rid of all the cops who are selling drugs in the department. And we have Clarence here who sees this. He knows what's going on. He recognizes who he is. And, you know, this is an alderman. what are you guys doing? And, you know, he sees and he knows better. This story is pretty much about us knowing better and seeing something is wrong and not helping our people and leaving your people for dead. But, you know, once he's, you know, beat up really badly and he's like, oh, you know, we're going to take him to the hospital. In the back of Clarence's mind, he knows that they're not going to, but he leaves and lets this linger and fester and ruin his life. Of course, they murder him, inject him with drugs. I love that they use this segment to put the alderman's body through every single type of brutality from the time that he's set up, from the time that he comes back as a zombie Terminator. But this, you know, eats away at him, and we come to a year later. Like, first of all, these damn cops, we get into the most racist, like, they didn't spare no parts in this movie. Like, everything here is so in your face, and it's just like, would we be able to even get a movie like this and do something like this again and not be, you know, canceled? Like, everything is here. It's like, how can you be, because there's so much, you know, talk about, you know, you're supposed to be on our side, that it could have been your job. We protect each other as cops, and that goes for any cops from that day or today. How can you try to protect us if you have a us against them mentality? We're the people who need protecting. Like, but it's like, you know, we save our jobs. Next time it could be your jobs. Whatever's happening that day, we don't say anything about it, and we don't report it, and he doesn't. And it eats away at him to the point that he becomes an alcoholic and he quits the force, up until he hears this alderman's voice, you know, taunting him, saying, bring them to me. And we see him, you know, held and crucified. So much symbolism. You see him, you know, on a cross, as you like you let them crucify me. Bring them to me, bring them to my grave. I need you to do this for me. And he's just so fed up with how shitty his life is, and he actually let this happen to this alderman. He brings these three cops together, and that's when we get to the shit. And we get to the most horrible cops, who not only, you know, acknowledge what they did, they plan to kill Clarence and leave him there. And before we even do that, we put a couple of sprinkles on that shit and decide to piss on his grave. Like, all of this is here. Like, y'all really did this in a movie. Like, I'm gonna piss on his grave. Like, horrible. But it was here, and it was unapologetic. Like, they, with no cutting. Like, no, we're gonna do this. Want nobody to stop it? No. And then we bring another instance in the movie where, you know, we bring the other officer. Like, I'm not gonna do this by myself. You get over there and piss on it too. What are you, pussy? Are you scared? Like, get over there. There is so much of that here. I absolutely loved it. At which we get the zombie Terminator running on fumes, pulls little baby down into the grave, disappears. I love that part. He's like, we don't panic. Where the fuck is he? What are you shooting at? He's not there. It's like, well, when the fuck do we start to panic? Bow! Bust out the grave. All hell fucking breaks loose, and we get into the Robo Terminator zombie alderman. And the effects here, yes, they are a bit, you know, compared to today, but hell, I'll take that over CGI. They aren't perfect, but they still have an effect to be scary. I love that when they're trying to get away, and, you know, each time they look back, he's getting closer and closer, up until bam, he's on the goddamn hood, at which he jumps on the car, you know, grabs, pulls the head off. Like, everything was really graphic here. I love that even though this is a hood anthology and it's black, there are some hard-hitting scares here. Like, you can laugh at the shit today. I was scared when I was like 5, 8, 6, 7, 9. I was shook. At which we have the last cop standing, the one who was very adamant about, you know, we protect each other. We're not turning anybody in. I killed her. You know, once we, you know, they send his black body through all types of, like, this is what we were going through as black men. There is so much symbolism here where, you know, they crucified me. They lied on my name, said I was, you know, a drug addict, said I was, you know, I ran my car off into, you know, this bay, said I was, you know, a dirty alderman, said I was, you know, an alcoholic. They, you know, hung me, they burned me, they beat me to death. Like, so much, sends his body through the ringer. He's so excited. I killed him. I killed him. At which I don't know who did the graffiti for this film, but it is really, really great. At which he turns around and he sees him standing there, and he literally crucifies this officer the same way he was crucified in the beginning, like, you guys crucified me as a person. I'm literally going to crucify you and your ass is going to melt into this wall. Then I love that final standoff that he has with Clarence, because you see what this has done to him. And it's like, you know, I did it, brother. I brought him to you. Are you satisfied now? He's like, no. Where were you when I needed you? I needed you there. How many times have we, you know, like, where were you when I needed you? At which he, you know, drops him, and it drops into him being in a insane asylum, and, you know, he's, you know, wrapped up, and he's presumed to have committed these crimes and killed these cops himself. Really, really great story. I absolutely loved it. A great way to start. Now, at this point, you know, we see that our three thugs in the mortuary are, you know, really eager to get to the shit, but they're still very intrigued by these stories, at which we get into Walter. We get into Boys Do Get Bruised. Now, I do absolutely love this story also. And we have little Walter here being portrayed by Mama. Hey, Mama, you know I love Big Mama. I'm just trying to get everybody together for dinner. Like, we have our little boy, you know, from Soul Food being portrayed as Walter here. And I love that this particular story speaks on child abuse. Going back to this movie, this was probably the one that I kind of looked at wrong the most. And I just probably wasn't paying attention because it was in broad daylight the whole time. This whole story has, we gonna get to fucking David Allen Greer fucking shit up here. This whole story has David Allen Greer being presented as, you know, the monster, and Tyler is, you know, going to school and he has these bruises, and we have the concerned teacher, also played by Rusty Cundieff here. Now, Rusty Cundieff is the director of this film, and you might know him, you know, from Sprung and Fear of the Black Cat. Like, very, very cool director, very funny guy. I wish he did a little bit more. But he's the teacher here. He's concerned, you know, what's going on. Not only are they picking on you at school, but these are, you know, older bruises. I want to find out what's going on, so I want to go and investigate at Walter's house. Like, and Walter has been told by a friend, you know, if you draw stuff and you tear it up, or you know, you burn it, the bad things will go away. But we instantly see when the story starts that he's being, you know, abused, and you see these images of, you know, a hand, it looks like a monster, you see horns, you see all these different, you know, images. And I was thinking back, you know, when I was watching it, that, you know, David Allen Greer, this is something that he was, you know, transforming into in beating Walter, or, you know, attacking the mom. But no, it's like these are the real images of what a kid being abused sees their abuser as. This is a monster. No, he is not physically a monster, but he is a monster to me. Like, I don't know why I didn't get that all them years ago, but I just got it a couple days ago when I watched it. But I love that we have that session with Tyler and his teacher, and he tells him, you know, the monster did it. And the teacher tells him, you know, when you're really be honest with me and tell me the truth, I'll be here. And I love that they put that in there, because a lot of times when kids do vent and try to tell someone about their abuse, a lot of times they are not believed, whether it's, you know, physical, sexual, mental, whatever. Sometimes you just aren't believed, and it's just like, he said you wouldn't believe me, because that's what the fuck abusers do. This was a very well written, all of it was well written. But once we, you know, have the teacher who is completely fed up and takes his, you know, his smart ass to the residence, we are introduced to big booty hoes, pump with it, boom, boom, boom. Hey, hoochie mamas, pump with it, fool, where Craig at? Paula John Parker is at the door. I was like, damn, is she just licensed, you know, to be on porches in movies? She's on the porch in this one, looking thotty. She's, you know, on the porch with DJ. We need to go make me some money, DJ. Hustle and flow, looking thotty. Fool, where Craig at? On the porch, looking thotty. I was like, you know, maybe this is in her contract to be on the porch, looking thotty. But Answer's all alluring in her wet robe. And not only mask, you know, what the teacher is feeling, and acts like, you know, this is all in, you know, Walter's mind. This is not going on. He has a vivid imagination. No one's beating on him. Denial as a woman being abused and allowing her child to be abused would be. But while we're denying, we're also flirting with the teacher and getting the stains and being very Paula Jai Parker. At which the monster shows up. And who the fuck is it? Mr. David Allen Greer, the funniest, most goofy, most nicest man in living color you would ever want to see. Like, Boomerang, Rashad, When I tell you David Alan Grier bodied this role, like, you would never expect this from him, period. So I can imagine people watching it back in like, what the hell are you doing? When he comes in, there's immediate intimidation. You see her, you know, grabbing, you know, trying to cover up like she wasn't just flirting, and has enough to tell the teacher, you know, don't say nothing. It's in his imagination. I'm going to talk to him. You should just go. I'm going to go get the door. And he's, well, where the hell were you? Why didn't you get the damn door? I was like, what? And the, you know, the teacher, he's not trying to hear this. Like, no, I'm going to sit down and talk to him. I have some things to say. And you just see David finesse this whole word. It's like, I will talk to him. As soon as the teacher just kind of, you know, gives up, and you see Walter kind of, you know, just kind of be let down and says, you know, oh, like, damn, my last hope is leaving. And you see him go to teach Walter a lesson. Oh my goodness. And you know him, you see him, you know, he has the paper that he showed him, the drawing, and David Alan Grier turns into a whole fuming asshole, like a whole abuser. And it was a whole bunch of bitch. Like, there are too many instances of, you know, what's my favorite word? Bitch. Like, it was real bitch. Oh, you need to teach you a lesson, like, whole abuser. And I'm so glad that we saw that teacher. He did not give up, and he went back in to save them and promptly got his ass whooped. Got his ass whooped. Wouldn't that? Oh, I was like, damn, you got hit again. But you see, he's like really at this point. I was like, damn, ain't nobody gonna call the police. I was like, it's an anthology. Calm down. But you see him just going ham and not giving two fucks about abusing this child. And this woman, like, oh my God, was going ham on Paul Paul, and she was trying. It's like, motherfucker, fry, bitch, wham. I was like, damn, oh, that shit looked like it hurt. It was so much gushing blood in this goddamn movie. But you see Tyler, he's just, you know, going in and about to just attack the mom, and we hit that whoop in that fucking arm. I was like, oh shit. It's like, oh my God, it really does work. Because, you know, at first we saw and we maybe thought it worked with Tyrone the bully, you know. Oh, how do we break both arms and legs just falling downstairs? I guess the boy must have had weak bones. What the hell are weak bones? I just can't. That part always fucks me up. But he, you know, proceeds to ball him up and crumble. And I love when David Alan Grier is down and it's just a whole blob, and he goes, this shit ain't over yet, bitch. And, you know, they go through that whole thing of, you know, nobody's going to believe us, and they burn him up. Really great, really great way to put child abuse in a horror anthology, or just out there, period. Because these things happen all the time, and these kids, these people aren't believed. These children aren't believed. The wives aren't in any, girlfriends, whoever, aren't in any, you know, situations to try to protect their children. You're being beat up as well. But I do like the message of, you know, not giving up and not, you know, taking no for no, and that teacher being really persistent in that story. Be it. Now it's at this point that we get into my favorite story. I think about everybody's favorite story, the KKK Comeuppance story with the doll in the mind of a boy, of a doll. Clarence Williams III was selling that shit this whole fucking movie. But this is my favorite story. We get into an ex-Klan member running for governor, like, and wants to use, you know, this ex-slave owner's house, who was just so fed up with the Civil War happening and slavery being over. He did not want to free his slaves, and he hung them all, and their souls were trapped in this house and were placed into a doll by this voodoo lady who wanted to put their souls to rest. And the souls, you know, are in these dolls, and they should be, you know, sporadically through the house. But at this moment, they're in this creepy ass painting. Now, this story in particular, also going back towards the end of the story, I saw, you know, a couple of things here that, you know, I didn't pay attention to at first. You know, you're a kid, you're not really paying attention, but it really holds some significance here. But we get into this politician. Like, I love this story because whether we're in, you know, politics, you know, the police department, any positions of powers, a lot of these people are descendants of ex-KKK members, like, they are descendants from all of these horrific situations, and they get put into these places of power, and they could give two fucks about black people. But we see this politician here who could give two fucks about black people, but he wants the black vote, he wants to be liked. And at which we have the black Rhodey here, played by Roger, aka my name is Smiley, his ass is here, being that right-hand black person on the campaign, trying to tell him what to do, what to say, what not to say to get those black votes in, and just to get votes in, period, and just not be his racist ass self in front of other people. This shit couldn't be more realistic. Like, there's always a brother or a sister in the corner. Now, after we leave every racial slur that you would ever want to hear, like, they're all here to the point that it's funny. We hear everything from nappy heads, spooks, little nigglets, everything is here. But you see this really strong politician, white racist ass politician, like, I don't care about any reparations, about, you know, any voodoo. I'm not moving out of this house. I'm going to use this, you know, this old plantation to campaign, and it's nothing you can do about it. Up until our roadie, you know, the only spooks I'm afraid of is spooks with guns. Ha ha, whoop, 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 whoop. Rolls his motherfucking ass down the stairs. And this is where we start to get our first glimpses of the dolls. Oh my goodness. Like, the funny thing about this here is that I didn't realize that the governor, like, he just was very adamant, like, I'm not leaving this house. It's nothing you niggas can do about it. I'm not going anywhere. Nobody's going to scare me away. Even though he's seen, you know, the friend die and roll down the stairs and was tripped by this doll that happened to be on the stairs. And he finds it again in the limo, up until, you know, we start to see, you know, things happen and these little dolls disappear out of this photo. I love that the symbolism here of, you know, he was just very, you know, high strong and I'm not leaving, you motherfucking nigger bastards. You can't run me off. I'm not going anywhere, when it was just one. And you see that one little silhouette missing. You know how you used to take a sticker off of a book, like, oh yeah, one sticker gone. But then when we saw, you know, it was a little sporadic, a little couple, but when he noticed that all of them were gone, like, the whole shit changed, as to say, you know, one, you know, oh, you can fuck about one, but, you know, together with a fist, we can make a mighty blow. Like, I love that little symbolism there. I also love that, you know, when I'm going to shoot your little nigger balls off. When we, you know, get that scene and, you know, the doll, you know, after he's, you know, attacked him, and we get those POV shots of the doll running, looking like fucking Chucky, and that great, you know, little stop motion and all those things. And, you know, him sitting on the stairs taunting him like, we're not going anywhere. Either leave or else. And he just doesn't leave. Up until the point he, you know, he tries to shoot him, and you slowly see the puppet coming at him and, you know, putting his stuff back together. Like, you can't destroy us. We're going to come back. We're going to put ourselves back together. And we get that, you know, that creepy old lady in the painting, and, you know, he's hitting. I love the first attacks that he does on this doll. Both times he is beating the painting, this lady with the painting. He is beating the physical dog with the American flag. I was not paying attention to that at first. Did y'all see that? And then, you know, once he, you know, just locks himself in and he, you know, gets terrified and feels like he's done something and he's, you know, got some of them. I mean, I just got one. And he turns around and, you know, it's a little bit missing, and then it's all of them. And it's like all of them are right there, and they, you know, attack him and chew all that motherfucking skin off. And he literally drapes himself in the American flag to cover himself. And then they fucking rip his flesh to shreds. Y'all. Symbolism. Let me do the thing. Symbolism. Like, I did not notice all of that before. You know, the united, we stand better. We're always going to pick ourselves up and come back. It's either us or them. We want, you know, all that, no reparations. And him throwing, like, there was so much there in those little short stories and these little skits. Very brilliant. I love the way it was written. I love the imagery. I just found out, you know, watching certain things about this, like the lady in the rocking chair was the director's mom. I was like, I ain't want to talk about your mama, bro, but she's a little scary. Now it's at this point we're getting pretty much to the end of our movie, and our three criminals, career criminals, our three thug passions are fed the fuck up because we ain't got to the shit yet. Like you playing, you toying with us. We about to blow your motherfucking brains out in broad daylight. Rockabye, baby. If you don't get us to the shit. And it's at this point that we get into, you ain't gonna believe this shit, homie. Come look at this shit, dog. And I love when hey, oh, you knew him? And we get into Crazy K. Oh, you knew him? No. And one of them was like, yeah, we knew him. No, we didn't know him. He's just a nigga we saw around the way. I love it. Like, you can say what you want about these films and about these being, hood actors and, black actors. They were acting their ass off in this movie. But we get into Crazy K and we get into that motherfucking, like, the soundtrack for this movie is bomb, first of all. The soundtrack, we got Wu-Tang, Spice One, Scarface. The soundtrack was fucking bomb. But this is when we get into My Cat Screams Fire. The pistol told me shoot that motherfucker, he's the liar. I talk to my creators like a bitch on the street. Hey! One to the chest and two to the dome. And if a nigga catch you slipping, then your ass is gone. Hey! Oh, y'all know I'll rap. No, don't get me started. We get into the Spice One of it all. And Crazy K here, played by Lamont Bentley, R.I.P., a.k.a. Moe. Early in the morning, new day is calling, it's me. Played by Hakeem. And just like I'm not going to say David Adam Grill, because Lamont Bentley had, he was in South Central, the series, and a few other things, to kind of play against his Hakeem stereotype. But this is by far the biggest role that I had saw from him, and playing completely opposite of hungry ass Hakeem coming in, playing a whole thug, rolling up, sideburns out to here to, retaliate and shoot someone. And when he rolls up, he shoots the guy, and his team comes out, fires back, his team, his homeboys that we don't actually see. I was like, y'all could have did a little better with concealing who they were. But, we get into saved by the motherfucking cops. Shit. We get into, them being shot up and Crazy K being taken to jail, at which he has been in there for 4 years. But at this point, he is up, for redemption. You can be paroled if you do that. This wasn't just, we're just going to focus on, white people and what they've done. It's like, no, we're holding everybody to task here. We have to take care of each other as a people. You have, the guy in the beginning, the officer who didn't, look out for his fellow brother. And then you have, the abuser, the monster, but you also have, the counterpart, the teacher coming in to save. And then, you get stories like this with Crazy K, who has no remorse for anybody. He is a gang, like triple OG ass member. And he has no remorse. It's just like, I'm doing what I got to do. Whoever the fuck gets shots and gets in my way, fuck him. He does not care. And I love that when we are introduced to Rosalind Cash's character, and she tells me, this is your chance for redemption. We're going to put you through all of these things. If you come with me, you could be up for parole instead of being in here for life. And you see, even with them rolling up on him, 4 years later, he still has not learned anything. He still has, no remorse for a thing. Like, I don't care. Up until she says, you can get out of jail. It's like, okay, I'm down. What the fuck do I sign? Then that's when we get into these whole chambers and him being thrown into this cage with this Nazi ass member. Oh my goodness. I love everything he had to say, and him telling him, he's, already on 10 murder punk, and I wouldn't mind doing that motherfucker shit again. Like, he was horror. He was horror. But this claimant lets him know, I'm a Nazi. I can't stand, black people, but I like you. I like you a whole lot. I like you a whole lot, nigger. And, if you be a good old boy, I'll let you be a part of my army. We have fellow niggas who want to kill other niggas. They can be a part of our army as slaves, and you'll be spared. And he knocks him the fuck out. But he briefly lets his ass know, those motherfuckers you killed, what color were they? Oh, son, it was deep. It was so deep. Like, who do you think you're killing? Who do you think you are contributing to with, this constant and black on black crime that is happening here? You're slaying your own. You helping us, not yourself. Then we get into the sensory deprivation of it all, and all these, gadgets and gadgets and boops and bops, and her becoming a whole fucking mad scientist to get him to see what she wants him to see. I love the fact when they bring him in chains, and it's very, reminiscent of, slavery. Like, you are a slave to what's going on, to what's like you. a slave to your environment. I'm trying to pull you out of this and try to let you know there is a different way. But I need for you to acknowledge what you've done and show some remorse. And it's at this point that he's like, I'm gonna break your ass off something real proper when I get off this motherfucker. Everybody here was selling that shit. But we getting to him, and we get into this literally like what felt like 5 minutes of Rusty Cundieff like not having no pause as a director, as he shouldn't, because he said, this is what I wanted. I wanted these things to be in your face and in the audience face as to what this really is, to be in a gang and commit these acts and to be a violent person. And you have, you know, Crazy K and murders that he's committed are just murders in general versus, you know, Klan members and racism and all these things and things that black bodies have been put through, you know, torture, hanging, shooting. It is like on a glitch like for a very long time. And it's just like, and you have that backdrop of, you know, Spice One, niggas got you slipping in your ass, it's gone in the background. It's just so heavy and so intense. And then we cut into him being dropped. Like we have all these flashes, and you see with each situation, the woman is consistently trying to, do you see what I'm talking about? Do you feel anything? It's just like, no. Doesn't have a caring fucking bone in his body. So she's like, let's move to the next thing. And we get into this sensory deprivation chamber. And we get into the goddamn strobe light of it all. Like, if you're a sensitive, like, oh my God. I love, you know, Darren Scott and Rusty Cundieff, as you know, producers, writers of this film, saying, you know, we wanted this particular sequence to play on the senses. That's why there's so much, you know, niggas got you slipping in your ass, it's gone, being so fucking long. We want this scene to be effective. We wanted that strobe lighting to be like really heavy and hit you in the face. And that's when we see Crazy K presented, you know, with ghosts of the past of all the people that he has shot and murdered. Oh my goodness, I love this scene. And I was going to say Hakeem. Lamont Bentley does such an amazing job here, and being, you know, that really strong, abrasive, knucklehead ass motherfucker that just has no remorse. I don't care. I'm not taking responsibility for a fucking thing. And you hear things, you know, what about my dreams, huh? What about my fucking nightmares? What about me? A bullet ain't got no name on it. You hear so much of him. Well, his excuses, his small excuses as to why he was committing these murders, and it's just like, you know, a bullet ain't got no name on it. You were just in the wrong place at the wrong fucking time. Fuck you, fuck her, fuck them. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. But you see, you know, the woman steady crying out to him like, this is your last chance. You can be saved. You can be redeemed. Take responsibility. This is nobody's fault but yours. Own up to it. It's just like, no. And you see him get even more abrasive to the point where he's actually let out of the chair, and he's, you know, I snapped this bitch's neck, like he's going off until, you know, he's stuck in that brace, and I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. And it's on a loop at which he wakes up, and you see our 3 dudes, our 3 thugs that's been in the mortuary this whole time are actually the ones who killed him. And you see them light his ass up and say that infamous one less nigga. Like, oh, the writing was so electric and so great here. But this is also at the point that we realize, and our 3 guys realize, oh, bitch, you've been playing us the whole time. You know exactly who the fuck we are and what you did. So what the fuck, nigga, you go snitch? Wham! Now, I love this part of the film. Next to, of course, the doll situation, this is probably my other favorite scene. And we get into the director really playing with things here. We play with lighting here. We play with, you know, it's such small effects here to be really effective, because you see slowly as they're, you know, I'm losing my patience, get to the shit so we can get the fuck out of here before I murder you, and things intensify. But as things intensify, you also see that Mr. Sims, aka Clarence Williams III, and our 3 guys starts to get a little sweatier until they meet their destination. I really love that small attention to detail, because you see things kind of get to heating up. But, you know, we get really, you know, we get all the way down in that basement, and he's touching those damn lights, and they go and they see, you know, dearly departed of all the people who are dying, and like, you know, what the fuck is this? And they're like, I'm tired, I'm losing my fucking patience. And he hits them, and we get that, woo! Man, like, oh my God, I love you, Clarence. All the way from Purple Rain to Hoodlum. I fucking love you, because he sells that shit. A lot of his, you know, body movements here, his facial you know, was very reminiscent of Sugar Hill. And, you know, when he was taking those drugs, it kind of reminded me of that here. But it was so impactful. But when you go back and watch it, you see that he's just trying to, like, hold on, I'm trying to contain myself before I really show you motherfuckers who I've been this whole time. And you see them go, and he's walking and lighting those lights, and he goes, it's in the coffins. Where else would I put it? About fucking time. And we see, you know, these characters who has been very, very, you know, thugs, hard. It's like, you know, everybody's hard until you actually have someone to answer to for all the fuckery that you've been doing. And you see things intensify and then realize, why are we in here? Why are we dead? What's going on? And he tells them, you know, this is all. I love that scene because they're still dropping, you know, little nuggets in there. Like, this is a whole cycle. You killed them and someone retaliated and came back to kill you, because that's how either they don't know, don't show, or don't care about what's going on in the hood. They doughboys, y'all. They doughboys, y'all, in this situation. This is a never-ending cycle. If things don't change, if we don't change as a people, this will keep fucking going. And I love that when they get like, oh, what you trying to say? We dead, motherfucker? Very. No, because if we dead, then what the fuck we doing in this funeral home with your crazy ass? This ain't no funeral home. This ain't the Terror Dome neither. And you see that fucking like, I just can't give him enough credit. Like, there were no prosthetics here. There was nothing but this man's voice, some sweat, and some hair. I love the position of his hair to already be forced upward to where it kind of, you realize once everything kind of rips off, he looked like devilish the entire time. His sinister smile, his eyebrows, everything just looked evil the entire time. But you didn't see it because he was concealing it as best he could up until welcome to hell, motherfuckers. And that digital ass tongue comes. I'm like, y'all could have kept that tongue. All things, we're gonna make that digital. But that tongue comes out, and those clothes rip off, and that flesh comes off, and everything just comes out. And once they realize, like, who the fuck we are, like, this is who I've been the whole time, niggas. And they just all fucking break down. It's like, oh god, it's like everybody's fucking hard until you have to deal with the repercussions of your actions. This is, you know, the type of, and I'm not gonna say hell because I'm not gonna get into that, but you're gonna, you know, have to answer to what you've been doing. And when it comes time to do that, I don't want to hear no crying. I don't want to hear no, this is it. And you realize this whole time these characters have actually been in hell, and this has been, you know, the devil kind of playing tricks on them this whole time. Very great fucking ending. And that's when they breathe, stretch, shake, let it go in the fucking flames. Harlem shaking in the flames. Like, I absolutely loved every single part of this damn film. There is not one, now maybe some of the effects and, you know, some of the dialogue here and there, of course, because it's the 90s. Like, if they say something like, oh, Mork ass busters, like, it's not going to hold weight right now. But the story still hold. We still very much have, you know, violence today as far as gangs, the police brutality, the child abuse, the no reparations, the racist politicians, ex-KKK members with the black roadies in their corner trying to help them win. Right now, this shit is happening right now. So there is never going to be a time where you watch this movie and it's not going to hold some standing and be relevant to you. I absolutely loved it. This is something to go back and watch. If you haven't and you just watched my review, go back and watch it and tell me if you peep some of the things that I talked about, or if you know, if you saw these things the whole times and you just been all smart all your life and you already knew what was happening. Good for you. Drop down and tell me that. Let's get the conversation going. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed going back and watching this movie, and I'm enjoying you guys supporting my content. Like, y'all don't understand. But I thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.